Hello there, and welcome. I'm so glad you found your way here. Wherever you are, in a quiet room, a distant city, or beneath a half-drawn curtain of stars, this is your moment to slow down. Let the day soften behind you. Let the thoughts that cling to your shoulders loosen and drift away like petals on a river. You've made it here, and that's enough. Tonight, we're not traveling to distant galaxies or peering through telescopes. We're staying home on the planet that raised us, the one that spins quietly, faithfully, through the long rhythm of time. Earth doesn't hum in words, but if you listen closely, you can almost hear it breathing. The long inhale of spring, the warm exhale of summer, the sigh of autumn, the stillness of winter. These are the seasons, not four separate stories, but four verses of the same endless song. Each one carries its own scent, its own color of silence, the smell of wet soil after rain, the shimmer of heat above golden grass, the crisp H of cold air against the skin, the hush that settles when snow begins to fall. They rise and fade, one into another, a dance so slow, so familiar, that we forget it is also astonishing. An ancient choreography written by sunlight and the tilt of the earth. Everything you've ever loved has lived inside these turning circles. Every forest, every migration, every memory of warmth, rest, and return. The seasons are the planet's heartbeat, and you are part of that rhythm. Even when you're still, your body keeps time with the world. The tides of your blood echo the pull of the moon. Your breath expands and contracts with the same patience as the orbit around the sun. We are the Earth, learning to listen to itself. Close your eyes for a moment, and you might feel it. A faint hum beneath your ribs, like the echo of distant tides. That's not imagination, that's resonance. The same gravity that moves oceans steers the water inside you. You are an instrument of the same symphony, vibrating softly with the universe's breath. As we drift deeper into this night, we'll follow that rhythm. We'll move through the seasons one by one, decoding their quiet wonders and the science that holds them together. We'll uncover how sunlight bends into color, how animals sense the tilt of time, how leaves read temperature in light. These are facts, yes, but they sound like lullabies, truths that glimmer gently in the half-light between sleep and curiosity. You might not remember them all by morning. That's perfectly fine. Some of these discoveries are meant to stay, others are meant to dissolve, like snow melting in spring or sunlight fading behind clouds. What matters is how they make you feel. That quiet astonishment, the sense that the world is vast, tender, and alive in every direction. The more we learn, the softer everything becomes. Knowledge doesn't always awaken us. Sometimes it lets us rest, knowing that even in chaos, there is order. Even in winter, there is renewal. Science can be a lullaby, too, a song about how things endure. So as you settle in, let your shoulders sink. Feel the bed, the couch, or the floor beneath you, holding your weight with patience. The seasons have been turning long before we named them, and they will continue long after. There's nothing you need to do now but listen. Listen to the hush between words, the silence that isn't empty but full, of wind, of water, of the slow ticking of the planet's heart. In this journey, we'll wander through meadows where spring wakes its first color, across oceans that shimmer with summer's breath, through forests painted with autumn's sigh, and into the crystalline quiet of winter's sleep. Each step will reveal a secret, 50 of them in all, little fragments of wonder connecting the living and the still, the fleeting and the eternal. If curiosity steers while you listen, that's the point. Let it drift, let it shimmer like sunlight through frost, because wonder is the gentlest way to stay awake. While falling asleep, and as the world outside begins to blur, as sound folds into stillness and time slows to the rhythm of your breathing, we'll begin. The first factor waits somewhere in the quiet turn of the earth, waiting, patient and luminous, like a snowflake deciding to fall. If the earth didn't lean, there would be no seasons, no spring warmth, no autumn gold, no rhythm between rest and renewal. Our planet drifts through space, tilted at 23.5 degrees, a quiet, almost accidental angle that writes the story of time itself. That small slant changes how sunlight falls across the globe, painting each hemisphere with light that breathes in and out across the year. When the north leans toward the sun, days lengthen, colors bloom, and air fills with motion that's summer. When it turns away, shadows stretch and light grows, tender that's winter. Between those turns lie the gentle interludes of spring and fall, the pauses in the planet's breathing. This tilt isn't a flaw. It's a memory, a remnant of a colossal collision billions of years ago, when a young Earth was struck by another body, scattering fragments that would later become the Moon. From that ancient impact came the rhythm of everything alive today, the migrations of birds, the flowering of trees, the pulse of human calendars. Imagine standing still under the sky and feeling that lean, the planet angling you slightly toward light or into shade. You don't feel it, but your body lives by it. Your hormones, your sleep, your emotions, all subtly tuned to that slow planetary wobble. The Earth turns, and with it, so the you. And as the sun moves lower or higher each day, it paints time upon everything, not with clocks, but with color. Every sunrise, every equinox, every lengthening shadow is the universe quietly whispering, turn and begin again. So, when you feel the season changing, know this. You're feeling the planet's ancient scar, still spinning, still healing, still beautiful. And in that tilt, that graceful imperfection, time itself is born. When winter comes, the air holds its breath. Water vapor invisibly, weightless, begins to slow, to cluster, to dream. High in the cold clouds, molecules of water arrange themselves into crystals, obeying geometry so elegant it seems deliberate. Each flake builds upon a pattern of symmetry, 6 arms reaching outward, never repeating. No two snowflakes are exactly alike, not because nature refuses repetition, but because it never stops improvising. Every gust of wind, every droplet spin, every whisper of humidity adds its own brush stroke. Billions fall, and not one is the same. When snow lands, it doesn't make noise, not really. It hushes the world instead, absorbing sound like a soft blanket placed over everything restless. Even chaos gets under snow. And beneath that silence, the earth rests. Science calls snow a form of frozen precipitation, but that hardly captures what it feels like, the way it turns cities into whispers and forests into dreams. Every flake is a message from the clouds saying, slow down, the sky remembering the shape of peace. Under a microscope, snowflakes look like frozen galaxies, each one reflecting the same physics that builds stars' symmetry born from chaos. They are the cosmos, miniaturized and falling in your hand. For a brief moment, you can hold something shaped by temperature, humidity, and chance, and then it melts, disappearing into warmth like time, like thought, like sleep itself. So when you see snow drifting through the night, remember, you are watching the atmosphere write poetry in crystal form. A quiet promise that even the coldest moments can be beautiful. When autumn arrives, trees do not fade, they reveal. The reds, oranges, and golds you see were there all along, hidden beneath the green veil of chlorophyll. During summer, that pigment dominates, capturing sunlight, feeding the tree, but as days shorten and temperatures fall, chlorophyll begins to break down, slipping away molecule by molecule. And beneath it, The true colors emerge, the ones that were waiting patiently all along. It's not decay, it's disclosure. The tree is not ending, it's letting go. Carotenoids and anthocyanins, the pigments of flame and wine, surface like memories long buried. The forest burns, not with fire, but with the quiet release of light once trapped in leaves. In that brief transformation, you can glimpse the chemistry of changed sunlight, stored in molecular bonds, being set free again. And then, when the work is done, the tree severs each leaf with surgical grace. A thin layer of cells forms at the base, and with one final breath of wind, the leaf falls. Not as death, but as relief. The tree sleeps lighter for the winter to come. Each falling leaf is the earth practicing forgiveness, a reminder that letting go is part of balance, that color and loss can coexist, that beauty often happens right before rest. So when you walk beneath an autumn canopy and leaves brush your shoulders like embers drifting down, remember you're walking through a slow release of sunlight, a farewell that glows instead of grieves. And as the colors fade into the quiet, the earth inhales once more, preparing for sleep. Long before we see the first bloom or hear a bird's return, spring begins where no one is watching, deep in the soil. Beneath the frozen crust, roots are stirring. They sense the slow lengthening of daylight through changes in temperature and moisture. Even in darkness, they know the sun is coming back. Tiny biochemical messengers travel through roots and stems, whispering to sleeping buds, "Wake soon." Sugars begin to flow again. Water loosens the soil. Microbes awaken from frozen stillness. The ground, once hard and silent, starts to breathe. Every scent you associate with spring, the sweetness after rain, the faint metallic tang of new leaves, begins here underground. It's not magic, but chemistry. Molecules like geosmin, released by bacteria as they come back to life, carried upward by the damp air. That smell, the one that makes people sigh and say it smells like spring, is the earth exhaling. When the first shoots push through, they aren't just seeking light. They're answering a signal that began weeks before. Each blade of grass, each blossom, is a translation of temperature into color, of time into shape. Spring is not sudden, it is patient. It prepares in silence, then unfolds all at once, like a long-held breath finally released. So, when you see the first flower or hear the first bee, remember the miracle started long before the surface changed. Spring is the art of unseen beginnings. Summer doesn't just warm the air, it expands the world. Heat loosens everything: rock, wood, water, even sound. Under the sun, air molecules move faster, carrying echoes farther and changing the way the world feels. You can hear it, the hum of insects, the slow crackle of tree bark, the soft shimmer of wind. Science calls it thermal expansion, the subtle swelling of matter as its particles dance wider apart. But to your body, it feels like ease. Joints move freer, breath deepens, the skin tastes sunlight through vitamin D and salt. Every sense opens just a little more. Plants reach their full stretch, drawing energy through leaves that act like living solar panels. Animals slow down, conserving energy as temperatures peak. Even the human heart beats slightly faster in heat, syncing with the lazy rhythm of the season. If you've ever felt time blur on a hot afternoon, that drowsy, infinite stillness, it's not just fatigue, it's physics. Heat slows the nervous system's signals, relaxes muscles, and softens perception. You are literally melting into the pace of the planet. Summer teaches us expansion without urgency, how to bloom without burning, how to be full without hurry. The world exhales, and for a while, everything is golden and slow. If you could hear time, it would sound like wind. It's the one voice that moves freely between the seasons, carrying temperature, pollen, and scent from one world to the next. Wind exists because of contrast: warm air rising, cool air sinking, each chasing the other across mountains and seas. It is motion born of imbalance, balance trying to return. Every gust is the planet adjusting itself, evening its own breath. In spring, the wind smells wet and electric, charged with rain and growth. In summer, it hums low through trees, heavy with life and dust. In autumn, it sharpens, tasting faintly of wood smoke and decay. And in winter, it turns thin and pure, ringing like glass across frozen air. What's remarkable is how alive the wind really is, how it carries invisible seeds, salt, spores, and sound across continents. A breeze you feel on your cheek tonight might have touched an ocean 3 days ago. Each molecule of air is a traveler, part of an endless circulation, connecting every living thing. The wind shapes landscapes without you noticing, carving stone, pollinating forests, guiding migration. And when it sighs through an open window at night, it carries more than weather. It brings memory. Close your eyes and listen. Every shift in air, every soft whisper through leaves, is the earth moving gently between its moods. The wind knows the borderlines of time, and it invites you to drift with it, weightless, from one season to the next. When rain begins, it isn't born in the clouds, it returns. Each droplet has lived before, as ocean, as mist, as tears, as dew. It rises, cools, condenses, and falls again in an endless circle. The water you hear against your window tonight may once have touched a glacier, a fern, or a forgotten shore. This is the hydrologic cycle, one of the oldest stories the earth tells itself. Water never disappears. It simply changes form, a master of transformation. In the clouds, vapor gathers until it's heavy enough to fall, drawn down by gravity and the need to belong somewhere. The first drops strike the ground and release that sweet, earthy scent called petrichor. It comes from oils secreted by plants during dry times, now lifted into the air by falling water. That smell, soft, ancient, unmistakable, is the earth exhaling relief. Rain carries more than freshness. It shapes rivers, feeds roots, cleanses air, and cools stone. It even changes mood. Barometric pressure dips, serotonin rises, hearts slow. Science can explain the physics, but not the feeling, that quiet pull towards stillness, the instinct to listen. And when the rain ends, the world feels new, not because it's washed, but because it remembers that life began in water, and someday will return there. The sky's memory falling softly back to earth. At dawn, when the air hovers just above freezing, you may see the ground shimmer, grass tipped in glass, branches glaze in silver light. That is frost, the moment when air and earth meet and forget which is which. Frost forms when moisture in the air settles on cold surfaces and freezes instantly, turning invisibly vapor into tiny crystalline sculptures. Each one is unique, built molecule by molecule, guided by humidity, temperature, and the stillness of night. Where wind stirs, frost breaks. Where quiet reigns, it blooms. The result is fragile architecture, filigree patterns on windows, the leafed spires on leaves, spirals that vanish at a single touch. To most, it's a sign of cold. To science, it's a dance of energy, water surrendering to structure. To the earth, it's exhalation warmth, leaving the soil and returning to the sky. Even before the sun rises, frost begins to fade, collapsing into dew. It doesn't melt, it dissolves, as though it never wanted permanence. Frost teaches the art of impermanence, the beauty of what can't last. Stand still and watch the first light catch on it, the brief sparkle before disappearance. It's the world breathing out, softly enough to see. When winter deepens and forests fall silent, it's easy to think the trees are asleep. But beneath the bark, life continues slower, deeper, quieter than before. Sap still moves through hidden channels, thick and patient. Cells huddle together, producing sugars and antifreeze proteins that keep them from freezing solid. In this suspended rhythm, trees store energy, repair damage, and prepare for rebirth. It's not death, it's dormancy, the botanical form of dreaming. Even the forest air changes. With fewer scents, the molecules that carry smell travel differently. Sound moves farther too. You can hear a branch crack miles away. The whole ecosystem seems to listen to itself, waiting for the cue to wake. Some trees track daylight through tiny sensors in their cells, counting the hours of dark until the first consistent hint of spring. Others rely on temperature, waiting for soil to thaw. They are mathematicians of light, timing their renewal with exquisite precision. And when that moment comes, a fraction more warmth, a few minutes less night, they steer. Buds swell, roots stretch, the dream begins to dissolve into color. So when you walk through a winter forest, know that everything you see, every still trunk, every bare branch, is holding a silent pulse beneath its skin. The trees are dreaming of leaves, of birds, of rain, and the earth too is resting, not asleep, but remembering how to begin again. The moon does more than light the night. It tugs gently at everything that lives. Its gravity draws at the oceans, sculpting tides that rise and fall like the planet's heartbeat. But its reach extends beyond water. The moon also stabilizes Earth's tilt, that delicate 23.5 degrees that gives us spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Without the moon, the planet would wobble wildly. Poles might shift, seasons might disappear or grow chaotic. Instead, the moon's pull holds the Earth steady, guiding its spin like a patient hand on a turning wheel. Every sunrise, every harvest, every snowflake owes something to that silent satellite. Even plants seem to keep time with lunar rhythm. Some grow faster under certain phases. Coral spawns only when the full moon shines. Ancient farmers read those patterns long before science gave them names. Now we know it's not superstition, it's synchronization. So when you see moonlight brushing the ground, know that you're seeing the architect of order, a distant companion shaping every rhythm you know. It doesn't just watch the earth, it keeps it calm, keeps it turning, keeps it home. And if you've ever felt the pull to look up at night, that quiet magnetism isn't just wonder. It's gravity, the same invisible thread that ties oceans, seasons, and you together. When sunlight touches a flower, a silent conversation begins. Inside each petal, molecules awaken chlorophyll, pigments, photoreceptors, all translating light into life. The flower senses not just brightness, but color, direction, and duration. It knows when dawn has arrived, when bees are near, when to bloom, and when to rest. Some flowers open only with the first blush of morning. Others wait for dusk, unfurling in the gentler shade. The reason lies in phototropism, a plant's ability to grow toward light. Cells on the shadowed side stretch faster, bending the stem until it finds the sun again. Its movement so slow we can't see it, yet steady enough to shape entire fields. In spring and summer, this dance becomes a chorus. Sunflowers trace the sun's arc, turning their golden faces hour by hour. Night-blooming jasmine waits for moonlight instead, perfuming the air when the world is quietest. Every bloom, every wee, is a sentence in the earth's language of light. So when you see a meadow blazing with color, remember, you're looking at sunlight, rewritten into fragrance and form, a living translation of the sky's warmth into something the heart can see. And when evening comes, and petals fold once more, it's not an ending, it's punctuation, a pause between breaths of light. We think of seasons as belonging to land, to trees, snow, and sky. But beneath the waves, time moves in its own rhythm. Currents shift, temperatures rise and fall. Entire ecosystems bloom and fade in cycles, as precise as spring and autumn. In summer, sunlight penetrates deeper, warming surface waters and awakening plankton. These microscopic drifters multiply, colouring the sea green and feeding everything above them, from tiny shrimp to great blue whales. The ocean turns into a banquet, shimmering with life. Then winter comes. Storms churn the surface, mixing it with cold water from below, bringing up nutrients hidden in the dark. The sea resets itself, preparing for the next bloom. It is the planet's largest breathing, an inhale of warmth, an exhale of renewal. Even coral reefs follow these rhythms. They spawn in synchrony with the moon and tide, releasing clouds of life that drift like underwater pollen. In polar waters, ice retreats each year, revealing open seas where krill gather in clouds, so thence they darken the water, and when the cold returns, they vanish into depth again. The ocean doesn't have spring or autumn in the way forests do. Its seasons are measured by colour, by temperature, by the speed of sound through salt and current. And just as trees know when to bud, the sea knows when to bloom. So if you ever stand by the shore and feel that slow pulse beneath the waves, you're feeling the ocean's calendar turning, time flowing in blue. Thunderstorms are not chaos, they are cleansing. When the air grows thick with dust and heat, the atmosphere begins to ache for balance. Rising currents of warm air twist upward, cooling as they climb. Moisture condenses, electric charges separate, and suddenly light splits the sky. That flash, that crack, that rush of rain, it's the atmosphere exhaling. Each bolt of lightning releases nitrogen oxidus, which combine with rain to feed the soil below. What sounds like fury is actually renewal. Plants grow greener after storms, rivers flow clearer, and the air feels washed of its weight. The scent that follows that sharp, sweet freshness is ozone, formed by lightning itself. It's the smell of molecules realigned, the sky resetting. That fragrance reaches us before the rain does, carried ahead of the storm like a soft warning or a promise. And when the storm finally breaks, rain cools the earth, insects still their songs, and birds wait in quiet suspension. Afterward, you can almost hear the silence shining the hush that follows transformation. We often call storms destructive, but they are also sculptors of balance. They churn the air, redistribute heat, cleanse the atmosphere, and seed the next cycle of growth. Every storm is a reminder. Nature's temper and tenderness are made of the same breath. So when you hear thunder rolling in the distance, you're listening to the sound of the sky, remembering how to heal. Fog doesn't fall like rain or drift like snow. It arrives softly, silently. It's born when cool air settles over warm ground, when temperature and moisture reach a fragile truce. Invisible vapor condenses into droplets so small they float, turning air itself into something you can almost touch. Fog is the atmosphere's way of pausing a boundary between night and day, between clarity and mystery. In autumn, when days shorten and nights cool quickly, fog becomes common, blanketing fields and rivers in silk. Sunlight bends through it, scattering gold, turning even ordinary mornings into memory. Each droplet in the mist is a mirror, reflecting a fragment of light. That's why fog glows softly rather than shines. It diffuses instead of declares. It teaches light to whisper. Sound changes too. Waves become muffled, footsteps closer, voices intimate. The world feels smaller, kinder. It's not that you can't see far, it's that you don't need to. Scientists call fog a low-lying cloud, but it behaves more like a feeling. It slows time, It wraps around you. It blurs the edges of thought until all that remains is presence. And when it lifts, it leaves everything damp, glistening, as if the earth has just woken from a dream it's not ready to forget. Every sunset is a lesson in scattering. As the sun sinks, its light must travel through more atmosphere, more dust, more vapor, more distance. Short wavelengths like blue and violet scatter away, leaving behind the long, slow notes of red, orange, and gold. That's why dusk glows like an ember, the sky's warmth stretched thin, lingering before night. The color of a sunset depends on the air itself. After rain, it burns clear and soft. After storms or wildfires, it deepens to crimson. The particles in the air, ash, salt, ice, act like tiny prisms, bending light into music. And though the sun sets every day, no two performances are the same. In ancient times, sailors read weather from the evening sky. Red sky at night, sailors' delight, they said, and science later proved them right. A rosy glow often means high pressure and calm weather ahead, the atmosphere whispering its forecast through color. When the light fades fully, the horizon cools into indigo, then violet, then the velvet blue of night. The day exhales, slowly, completely. Watching a sunset is watching the earth breathe out light, a soft surrender, a daily letting go. And as the last streak of color dissolves, the stars begin their patient unveiling, reminding us that every ending is just a gentler kind of dawn. Dew doesn't fall from the sky, it gathers. In the cool hours before dawn, when the air grows still and the ground exhales its last warmth, moisture begins to settle. Tiny droplets form on leaves, blades of grass, window glass, each one a bead of patience. It is the night's final whisper, the moment when darkness turns tender. The process is simple. As the temperature drops, air loses its ability to hold water vapor. The excess condenses on cool surfaces, a meeting of air and matter, of breath and touch. But in that simplicity lies poetry. What was once invisible becomes visible. What once floated becomes weight. Dew is not rain, yet it nourishes just as faithfully. It feeds spiders' webs, beads the wings of moths, cools petals waiting for sunrise. It is a gift, from the night to the day, a reconciliation. Scientists measure it by temperature and humidity. Poets measure it by softness. Either way, it is balance, the earth's quiet agreement with the air above it. When dawn comes and sunlight slides across the world, dew vanishes without goodbye. Not gone, only changed, rising again to become the next cloud, the next breath, the next chance to begin. So, when you wake early and see the grass jeweled in morning light, remember, you're witnessing forgiveness made visible. Every year, billions of birds cross continents, following invisibly paths older than language. From Arctic terns that chase eternal daylight to tiny warblers flying oceans on wings lighter than a spoon, migration is one of nature's most astonishing clocks. The secret lies not in instinct alone, but in magnetism. Inside each bird's eye and brain are microscopic crystals of magnetite, tiny compasses tuned to the Earth's magnetic field. They literally see direction. Even when clouds cover the stars, they can sense north and south by the faint hum of the planet's field running through their cells. Some species navigate by the sun's angle, adjusting their course with the hour. Others read polarized light, invisibly to us but clear to them. And when night falls, they steer by constellations, guided by points of fire we only admire for beauty. To migrate is to trust to follow a map written in magnetism and memory. No GPS, no trail, only the certainty that warmth waits somewhere. Each flight is an act of faith, a living thread connecting hemispheres. And when they return wings frayed, feathers dulled, they remake the sky above us into a bridge between worlds. Listen, and you may hear them high above the dark, carrying the seasons across the edges of wind. In the still heart of winter, when lakes freeze solid, you might hear it, a sudden echoing note that ripples across the silence, sharp as glass and deep as thunder. That is the song of ice. When temperature shifts, frozen water expands and contracts, creating cracks that travel at speeds faster than sound. The vibration turns the lake into an instrument, a giant harp strung with light. Each crack sings a different pitch, depending on the thickness of the ice and the depth of water below. Scientists call it acoustic dispersion. To the ear, it sounds like a whale calling through crystal. In the Arctic, explorers once mistook these sounds for spirits or distant drums. But in truth, it's physics. Molecules rearranging under pressure, releasing tension in music form. Ice is not silent. It groans, hums, sighs, and sometimes whispers like glass about to shatter. It reminds the world that even stillness vibrates. If you listen long enough, those tones begin to layer. A symphony of temperature and tension, an orchestra tuned by cold. When the sun rises and warmth returns, the song fades. The ice melts, releasing its echoes back into water. And yet, somewhere deep in memory, that sound lingers, a reminder that silence is never truly silent. There's a certain moment before a storm when the air changes. A sweetness, earthy and electric, that seems to open memory itself. It's the scent of petrichor, one of nature's oldest perfumes. The word comes from Greek, petra, meaning stone, and ichor, the golden essence said to flow through the veins of the gods. And indeed, the smell feels divine, as if the earth were breathing something sacred back into the air. But the science is beautifully simple. When rain touches dry soil, it releases oils that plants have stored through long heat and drought. Those oils mix with compounds from bacteria called actinomycetes, producing that unmistakable fragrance that drifts upward just before rain begins. It's a scent tied to survival, a signal for animals that water has returned, for plants that the world is soft again. Even humans react unconsciously, our hearts slowing as the air thickens with moisture. Smell is memory's closest sense, and petrichor connects us to something ancient. The primal relief of rain after longing, the knowledge that the cycle continues. Next time it rains, step outside. Breathe it in slowly. That scent has touched deserts, mountains, jungles, every continent of this blue world. It's the planet's way of saying, I remember you too. When autumn arrives, trees don't simply surrender their leaves, they decide. At the base of every stem, cells begin forming an abscission layer, a thin seam that slowly severs the leaf from its branch. Nutrients are drawn back into the tree for safekeeping. Water stops flowing. Then, one gust of wind is all it takes. From the outside, it looks like loss, but to the tree, it's wisdom. Dropping leaves prevents freezing, preserves energy, and protects against the heavy weight of snow. It is a carefully timed release, a letting go that keeps the tree alive. The process is guided by sunlight and hormones. As days shorten, levels of auxin shift, signaling the moment when it's time to part. The colors that emerge, crimson, gold, amber, are the tree's quiet celebration before rest. Even the sound of leaves underfoot carries purpose. Their decay feeds the soil, their fall slows erosion, their silence makes way for growth. So, when you stand beneath a shower of leaves and feel one brush your shoulder, remember you've just been touched by a choice. A gentle act of survival disguised as beauty. When the first snow falls, everything changes, not just the ground, but the very light around you. Snow doesn't simply cover the earth, it transforms it into a mirror. Each flake reflects up to 90% of the sunlight that touches it, scattering brightness in every direction. That's why the world glows even on the darkest winter days. light folded and refolded until the air itself seems to shine. Snow absorbs sound too. Its crystals trap vibrations, softening footsteps, swallowing echoes. That's why snowfall feels peaceful. It's the sound of silence becoming physical. Scientifically, snow is frozen water vapor crystallized around tiny particles of dust. But spiritually, it's something closer to forgiveness. It smooths out sharp edges, hides imperfections, and gives the world permission to rest. Beneath the surface, life continues. Seeds sleep under the snow's insulation. Animals burrow deep. Rivers keep running under a thin veil of ice. The world is not frozen, it's dreaming. Look up during snowfall and you'll see it. Flakes drifting down in spirals, each one reflecting the light of a sun you can't see. A sky teaching the air to glow. And as the first snow settles around you, you may feel it too. The hush before renewal, the stillness before the turning begins again. Every season begins not with temperature, but with light. The Earth's tilt changes the angle of sunlight, and with that simple shift, the world transforms. In summer, sunlight falls steep and direct, carving short shadows and long days. In winter, the rays arrive slanted, stretched thin across the horizon, touching everything with gentleness instead of heat. This angle decides everything: the color of the sky, the rhythm of plants, even the chemistry of your mood. When sunlight strikes the atmosphere at a low angle, it scatters blue light more widely, turning sunsets into fire and dawns into watercolor. When it stands high and white, the world feels sharper, more awake. Your body knows this instinctively. As light changes, hormones shift. Melatonin rises in winter, coaxing sleep. Serotonin peaks in summer, sparking joy. The tilt of the planet becomes the pulse of the mind. Scientists call it axial obliquity, a small lean of 23.5 degrees. But it is also choreography, a dance between earth and sun, so precise that every petal, tide, and heartbeat keeps its rhythm by it. So, when light slants golden across your floor, or lingers pink in winter air, remember that color is geometry made visible, the quiet math of beauty at play. On long summer nights, even darkness hums with life. Crickets call, fireflies blink, and warm air ripples with invisible wings. The day may have ended, but the planet hasn't gone to bed. It's merely changed its tempo. In warm months, nocturnal creatures take the stage. Bats navigate by echolocation, weaving sound through silence. Moths flutter toward moonlight, drawn by wavelengths we can't see. Plants, too, stay busy releasing oxygen and scent, their metabolism slower, but still awake. The warmth of the air holds memory. Heat absorbed by the ground during the day leaks back into the night, creating microclimates where frogs sing and seeds germinate under starlight. That lingering warmth carries the pulse of the day, the Earth's way of exhaling after sunlight fades. If you listen closely, you can hear the layers. A symphony of hums, clicks, rustles, and sighs, each one a heartbeat of the planet at rest but not asleep. And above it all, stars shimmer through thin air, their light having traveled thousands of years just to land softly on a leaf near you. Summer nights don't end, they drift. A world half dreaming, half alive. Deep within glaciers, time sleeps in layers of blue. Each winter snowfall presses upon the last, trapping tiny bubbles of air, tiny records of ancient atmospheres. These are the planet's memory archives, the ice cores that hold secrets older than humanity itself. Scientists read them like books. By measuring the gases within, they learn how the Earth has breathed for hundreds of thousands of years. Carbon dioxide, methane, dust, poison, all preserved in frozen stillness, page after page of the planet's diary. Some of these layers are so clear they capture the exact tone of volcanic ash, the faint trace of a distant fire, even the signature of a passing comet. The deeper you go, the older the air, until you're holding the breath of an ice age. The blues in glacial ice aren't just color, they're the result of light traveling through purity. Longer wavelengths absorbed, shorter ones reflected, turning frozen water into sapphire stone. When a glacier calvers and the ice cracks into the sea, you can hear it, a sound like thunder slowed to sorrow. That's history being released, the centuries of stillness finally meeting the present. And in that moment, you realize that even cold remembers, and that silence too has a voice. The first spring rain is not loud. It doesn't shout its arrival, it whispers. A soft tapping on roofs, a shimmer across puddles, a rhythm that sounds less like weather and more like memory. After months of winter silence, the world begins to echo again. Raindrops strike soil that has lain frozen and deaf, awakening bacteria, loosening roots, releasing the scent of life back into the air. That smell, the mingling of earth and ozone, is the planet's heartbeat restarting. Each drop carries microscopic dust from the sky, minerals that feed mosses and trees. Rain connects heaven and ground, pulling what floats above into what waits below. When the droplets hit water, they trap tiny pockets of air that burst like bubbles of sound. That's why rain never sounds the same twice. Each pattern, each roof, each leaf creates its own rhythm. It's percussion written by gravity. Spring rain isn't just nourishment, it's recalibration. It evens temperature, balances air, teaches the land to breathe again. The fields absorb it, the rivers swell, and under the surface, seeds begin to hum. If you listen, really listen, you'll hear it, the faint song of the soil returning to life, the earth finding its voice again, one drop at a time. Twice a year, balance returns. For a brief moment, day and night share the sky equally, light and dark, divided so precisely that the world seems to pause. This is the equinox, when the sun crosses the celestial equator and the earth's tilt aligns neither toward nor away. Every culture has felt its quiet symmetry. Ancient templars in Egypt and Mexico were built to mark that line of light, their corridors glowing only on those 2 days. Even animals respond. Birds begin migration, trees adjust their chemistry, humans sense the subtle shift without knowing why. At the equinox, the planet breathes evenly. It's as if time itself stands in the doorway, 1 foot in winter, 1 in spring. Mathematically, it's geometry. Spiritually, it's grace. No extremes, no tilt, no excess. Just balance. The most fleeting state in nature. When you stand outside on that day, you stand inside harmony. You may not feel it at first, but somewhere deep within, your heartbeat matches the rhythm of the sun's crossing. A reminder that balance is not stillness, but motion held in perfect poise. Before a seed ever breaks open, it already knows the sun. Locked inside its shell are blueprints, kinetic memories of warmth and rhythm, encoded by generations of plants that bloomed before it. This instinct is called photomorphogenesis, growth guided by light that hasn't yet arrived. Even in darkness, a seed can tell direction. It senses gravity, moisture, and faint chemical traces of sunlight filtered through soil. Tiny proteins called phytochromes act like clocks, telling the seed when the world above is ready. When it decides to awaken, it doesn't rush. It swells, listens, waits. Then, with a slow, deliberate push, it cracks open the ground. The first green tip that emerges isn't just seeking light, it's remembering it. That memory is ancient, older than forests, older than oceans of flowers. It's the story of life, trusting what it cannot see. Every seed carries that courage to reach toward warmth before it feels it, to rise toward a promise rather than proof. So the next time you see a field of new shoots trembling in spring wind, know that you are looking at faith made visible, the quiet certainty that light will come. When the first chill slides into the air and the trees ignite with crimson and gold, it feels like magic, as if the forest suddenly decided to set itself alight. But the truth is gentler. Those colors were there all along. Every leaf carries pigments: chlorophyll for green, carotenoids for yellow and orange, anthocyanins for red. In summer, chlorophyll dominates, masking the rest beneath its emerald tide. As daylight fades and temperatures drop, the green begins to retreat. It breaks down, molecule by molecule, until the other hues can finally breathe. Autumn isn't so much change as revelation. It's the world removing its mask. The golds and scarlets we admire are the quiet truth of the leaf, waiting patiently beneath months of growth. There's chemistry behind the beauty. Sugar trapped in the veins enhances red. Cold nights deepen contrast, and dry air sharpens tone. But there's poetry too. When a tree glows against a paler sky, it's not dying, it's remembering itself. It's saying, "This is what I was before the green took over." A brief, brilliant confession before rest. And when the wind carries those colors to the ground, you can almost hear it, the soft sigh of the earth exhaling light. In the deep stillness of winter, the forest looks asleep, motionless, skeletal, bare. But beneath that quiet shell, life hums in slow motion. Trees don't die in winter, they dream. Inside each trunk, water withdraws toward the core. Sugars concentrate like natural antifreeze, and metabolism drops to a whisper. Buds are already formed, wrapped in tiny scales, holding the next spring inside their hearts. This state is called dormancy, but it's more like meditation, a deliberate slowing, a conservation of breath. In subzero temperatures, even a tree's cells change shape. Their membranes grow flexibly, allowing ice to form between cells rather than within them, avoiding damage. It's a biological stillness crafted by patience. If you stand among them, you can feel the quiet architecture of endurance, an entire community waiting for the tilt of the sun to return. The snow softens sound, the wind sighs through hollow branches, and somewhere deep in the roots, a slow pulse of water moves the forest's heartbeat, still steady, waiting to wake. Winter isn't death. It's rehearsal for life. You can't see it, but the wind is a messenger. It carries everything: heat, pollen, whispers of the sea, even the scent of faraway rain. Each gust is a thread in the planet's invisible conversation. On spring mornings, wind scatters pollen grains from forests to meadows, ensuring that life never stays confined to one place. In summer, it shapes clouds and cools oceans, moving warmth from equator to pole like a slow breath. In autumn, it tumbles leaves into rivers, turning decay into fuel for what's to come. And in winter, it sculpts snow into patterns so precise they look like handwriting on the world's white page. Wind is not chaos, it's design in motion. Each swirl, each eddy, follows the physics of fluid and heat, yet within that precision, there's art. It has touched the same mountains for millions of years, and still it finds new paths. You've felt it before, that sudden cool breeze before a storm, or the warm sigh that tells you spring is near. That's the wind translating temperature into emotion, pressure into poetry. And somewhere, as you breathe, remember that the air entering your lungs was once part of a storm above the Pacific, once brushed the wings of migrating birds, once circled the globe to find you. The wind is memory in motion, a story told endlessly, from one season to the next. When winter dawns and fields shimmer like powdered glass, you are witnessing a quiet conversation between air and earth. That fragile glitter frost forms not from snow, but from breath. During the night, the ground exhales its warmth into the open sky. As the surface cools, moisture from the air condenses, crystallizing directly onto grass, twigs, and leaves. The result is hoarfrost, each crystal a tiny cathedral of ice, built molecule by molecule in total silence. No two patterns are alike. Each one is a fleeting architecture, the atmosphere painting with invisible hands. The moment sunlight arrives, the art begins to fade. A slow, luminous vanishing. For plants, frost is both challenge and teacher. They adapt by producing sugars and proteins that act as natural antifreeze, allowing cells to survive even when water turns to ice outside them. In a sense, they learn to endure beauty that can kill. When you walk across a frosted field, the crunch beneath your feet is not destruction, it's release. Trapped air breaking free from its crystalline cage, returning to the rhythm of the world. Frost is the morning's handwriting, and every sunrise erases it softly, as if the planet is beginning again with a clean page. There's a moment in fall when the air changes, when the forest begins to smell sweet and earthy, like smoke and honey, and something almost ancient. That scent is chemistry, the perfume of geosmin, terpenes, and tannins, molecules released as leaves die and return to the soil. As cells break down, they release compounds that carry the smell of warmth and memory. It's not rot, it's renewal made aromatic. Microbes join in this slow alchemy, transforming fallen leaves into nutrients that will feed spring. Fungi thread through the litter, weaving white networks that glow faintly under moonlight. Even decay, it seems, has design. The scent of autumn tells your body something your mind already knows. Rest is coming. It triggers a subtle calm, a reminder that slowing down is not failure, but part of the cycle. When wind steers a pile of fallen leaves, it lifts that fragrance back into the air, a message from the ground to the sky. In those moments, you can almost hear it, the forest breathing through its own memory, the earth turning towards sleep with a sigh. A snowflake begins as vapor, a single droplet of invisible water suspended in cold air. When temperature and humidity align just right, that droplet freezes and begins to grow outward, forming branches in perfect symmetry. Each branch mirrors the others because the crystal feels the same environment on all sides. And yet, no two snowflakes are truly identical. A small shift in humidity, a breeze, a speck of dust, and the pattern changes forever. It's the paradox of perfection, infinite symmetry born of imperfection. The six-pointed shape of a snowflake reflects the molecular structure of ice itself, hydrogen bonds locking into hexagonal lattices. From that atomic rhythm emerges something vast and visible, delicate enough to vanish on your tongue, complex enough to humble supercomputers. When snow falls, you are watching geometry surrender to gravity, beauty made visible by chill and chance. In the hush that follows a snowfall, sound itself softens. Air between flakes traps echoes, muting the world until all that remains is breath, white light, and stillness. Every flake that lands is a message written in mathematics, a brief whisper from water saying, "Even I can take shape and still fall softly." There's a day once each year when the earth tilts its face fully toward the sun, and the world inhales light. This is the summer solstice, the longest day and shortest night. The sun rises higher, lingers longer, painting the world in slow, golden hours that seem to never end. Ancient civilizations built monuments to this moment, from Stonehenge in England to Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, stones and shadows mark the sun's path. Silent calendars carved in devotion to the sky. The solstice is more than astronomy. It's a feeling. Plants bloom to their fullest. Animals thrive in warmth. Even human hearts expand in rhythm with the day. Studies show sunlight boosts serotonin, the chemistry of joy itself, as if our bodies remember that we too are made for the light. But what makes the solstice gentle is knowing it's also the turning point. From here, days begin to shorten again. Every long afternoon carries the faint echo of goodbye. Light at its fullest is always beginning to fade, and in that truth lies something peaceful, the understanding that abundance and impermanence walk hand in hand. The solstice is the planet's longest exhale, and we are breathing with it. Every autumn, trees release their leaves in slow motion, a quiet act that looks like death, but is, in truth, a gesture of wisdom. When days shorten and light wanes, the trees begin a process called abscission, a gentle separation. Cells form a thin layer at the base of each stem, cutting off water and nutrients. Then, one day, the bond weakens just enough. The leaf detaches, not ripped away, but set free. It's not surrender, it's preservation. By letting go, the tree conserves energy through winter, reducing surface area where cold and wind could draw away moisture. The falling leaf carries messages in its veins. The story of summer, the record of sunlight turned into sugar. When it lands, it doesn't vanish. It transforms. Bacteria, fungi, and time break it down into nourishment for what's to come. In this cycle, the earth practices a kind of forgiveness. Nothing is wasted. Even loss becomes food. Next time you see a leaf drift past your window, remember, it's not falling, it's returning, each descent a soft rehearsal for renewal. When a storm rolls in and thunder ripples through the air, you are hearing the voice of heat meeting air, a sudden electric conversation between heaven and earth. Lightning strikes when clouds build too much tension, their positive and negative charges pulled apart by friction. When that invisible thread finally snaps, a bolt of plasma explodes through the sky, heating the air to over 0 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. That air expands instantly, creating a shockwave that rolls across the landscape. That's thunder, the echo of imbalance resolving itself. It's easy to think of storms as anger, but they are really release, nature's way of restoring equilibrium. Each rumble clears static from the atmosphere, returns ions to balance, and cools the surface for rain to follow. In ancient times, people heard gods in those sounds. Today, we hear physics, but the wonder remains the same. When thunder fades into the distance, it leaves behind stillness. The world rinsed, clean, the air charged anew. The storm doesn't destroy, it resets. It's the sky exhaling after holding its breath too long. Before the sun has risen, before the first bird sings, there's a moment when the world seems to shimmer in silence. That shimmer is due the night's parting gift. As air cools during the dark hours, invisible vapor condenses into droplets. Each blade of grass, each petal, each spider web becomes a vessel for light. When dawn arrives, the world is covered in tiny mirrors, the sky reflecting itself upon the earth. To scientists, dew is a simpler process of condensation. To poets, it's the handwriting of the night. Both are true. In deserts, plants rely on this miracle to survive. Their leaves are shaped to capture even the faintest moisture, drawing in the quiet generosity of air when rain refuses to fall. In forests, dew feeds mosses and fungi, bridging the hours between darkness and day. Each droplet is brief gone the moment sunlight touches it, and yet in that briefness is eternity, a cycle repeated since the first dawn, a balance between loss and renewal. When you see the morning glisten, you are not just seeing water, you are seeing the memory of night turning itself into light. There are mornings when the horizon vanishes, when mountains turn to ghosts and streets dissolve into silver. That is fog, air thickened by its own breath. Fog forms when warm air meets cool ground. The moisture within it condenses into microscopic droplets, suspended between earth and sky. Each particle catches light differently, scattering it into a gentle glow that hides sharp edges. It's not blindness, it's kindness. Fog softens everything: sound, distance, memory. It teaches the world to whisper. Sailors once feared it, poets adored it, and scientists studied its chemistry, how it carries salt from ocean to forest, how it hydrates ecosystems too delicate for rain. In coastal redwood groves, fog is lifeblood. Trees drink from the mist itself, pulling moisture directly through their needles. But fog is more than physics. Its presence made visible. It turns the ordinary sacred by obscuring it. When you walk through fog, you are not lost. You are inside the breath of the earth, the line between seen and unseen, dissolving softly around you. And when it lifts, you don't find the world finds you again. We often think of the seasons as a loop, spring to summer, autumn to winter, returning endlessly. But that's an illusion. The earth never truly repeats itself. As our planet orbits the sun, it travels forward through space, pulling its atmosphere, oceans, and all of us with it. That means each cycle of seasons happens at a new point in the universe, a spiral, not a circle. Each spring is born slightly ahead of the last. Each winter unfolds under a different constellation. The flowers you see today bloom beneath stars that were not there for your ancestors. Even within your own body, the atoms that once belonged to older suns continue their voyage. Every breath, every heartbeat, every year, a continuation, not a repetition. Nature doesn't loop, it learns. Patterns reappear, but never identically. The rhythm of time is forward motion disguised as return. So when you feel that sense of déjà vu in April, or nostalgia in September, remember it's not the same season you knew before. It's its descendant, a familiar face carrying new light. The seasons spiral outward through eternity, and we spiral with them. Never back, always onward, forever moving through the quiet geometry of time. After a storm, when light meets water and the sky becomes a prism, we look up and see an arc, a bright, curved bridge across the clouds. But that's only half the truth. A rainbow is never a half circle. It is always a full, perfect ring, a complete halo of color that surrounds the shadow of your own body. You just can't see the lower half because the earth stands in the way. From airplanes, mountaintops, or above waterfalls, travelers sometimes glimpse the full circle, a glowing ring suspended in mist, an infinite eye of light watching itself. Rainbows form when sunlight bends inside raindrops, refracting and reflecting through liquid glass. The light splits into wavelengths, each color leaving the droplet at a slightly different angle. Red at 42 degrees, violet at 40. That's why the arc curves, geometry written in light. Every rainbow you see is yours alone. No one else stands in the same position. No one else catches the same droplets at the same angle. Even if you stand beside someone, you each see your own personal rainbow. It's not a shared illusion. It's a shared wonder, a reminder that perspective creates beauty, and that sometimes what seems like a fragment is already whole. Every now and then, spring forgets itself. A storm wanders in, and suddenly, the green fields wear white again. This spring snow is a gentle contradiction. Soft flakes falling through air that smells like blossoms. To meteorologists, it's a clash of pressure systems. To the Earth, it's a moment of hesitation, when warm and cold currents wrestle in the upper atmosphere. Snow forms even when ground temperatures hint at thaw. The result is fleeting. Snow that melts as it lands, water meeting warmth in midair. For plants, this confusion is a test. Many early blooms, crocus, daffodil, magnolia, are designed for resilience. Their cells contain antifreeze proteins. Their petals close tightly to conserve heat. They don't panic, they simply wait. To watch snow falling on new leaves is to witness contradiction turned to art. Two seasons colliding softly, neither winning, both beautiful. And when it melts, the water sinks into awakening roots, the snow's apology becoming the tree's first drink. High above the Arctic Circle, where night stretches for months, the sky sometimes erupts in color, green, violet, crimson waves of light that shimmer and flow like water. This is the aurora borealis, a luminous dialogue between the sun and Earth. When charged particles from solar winds collide with our planet's magnetic field, they're funneled toward the poles, where they meet molecules of oxygen and nitrogen in the upper atmosphere. Those collisions release photons, tiny bursts of light that ripple across the heavens. The color depends on altitude: green for oxygen near the ground, red and purple for nitrogen higher up. To physics, it's energy. To the soul, it's grace. Indigenous peoples of the North once believed the lights were spirits dancing, or ancestors whispering across the veil of night. Perhaps, in a way, they are, because every flicker of aurora is sunlight transformed by distance, a memory of day traveling through the dark. When you stand beneath it, the air almost hums, as if the planet itself were singing back to the sun. I remember you. We often think of seasons as belonging only to land. Spring blossoms, summer heat, autumn leaves, winter frost. But the ocean has its rhythms, too. Its own kind of year. In spring, sunlight reaches deeper into water, warming surface layers and awakening phytoplankton, tiny floating plants that bloom in luminous abundance. This explosion of microscopic life feeds fish, whales, and everything between. By summer, warm water forms a barrier called a thermocline, separating the nutrient-rich depths from the surface. The ocean grows quiet, then calm, blue, reflective. But beneath, life slows, waiting for the churn of change. Autumn storms mix those layers again, steering nutrients upward in dark spirals. Winter brings rest. Colder, heavier water sinking once more, carrying oxygen to the deep, where ancient creatures drift in silence. The ocean breathes through these cycles, invisible seasons that shape every raindrop, every cloud, every life on Earth. Even here, far from shore, the same balance holds true. Light, motion, rest, renewal. The heartbeat of the sea mirrors our own. Slow, powerful, and endlessly returning. There's a sound to autumn you can almost feel. It's the whisper of leaves turning brittle, the soft rasp of branches brushing the wind. That first cool night sends a signal through the forest, a quiet chemical message that says, prepare. As daylight shortens, chlorophyll begins to fade, revealing pigments that have been waiting in secret. Carotene, xanthophyll, anthocyanin, the palette of farewell. During these weeks, the forest breathes differently. Sap slows, roots deepen, even air density changes, carrying sound farther through the thinning canopy. And in that stillness, You can hear the earth adjust, every tree, every blade, every grain of soil shifting, to make room for rest. When wind moves through a forest of gold, it doesn't roar its sighs. A language of letting go, spoken in light that flickers between branches. Listen carefully, and you'll hear not decay, but continuity. The sound of life folding itself into patience. Autumn doesn't speak loudly. It whispers just enough to remind us change can be beautiful when done slowly. Even the heavens have seasons. Above views, light isn't constant, it shifts, and breathe is, responding to cycles as vast as galaxies. The sun, our nearest star, goes through an once-year solar cycle, a pulse of magnetism that rises and falls like a heartbeat. At its peak, sunspots multiply, solar flares arc out into space, and auroras ripple farther from the poles. Stars beyond our reach live through similar patterns. They flare, dim, and renew, their outer layers swelling and cooling, their cores fusing elements that will one day become planets, oceans, and us. Space is not silent either. Magnetic storms across the void, cosmic winds drift between stars, and nebulae glow with the ashes of old suns. When you look up on a clear winter night, you're watching celestial weather, a forecast written in fire, unfolding over millennia. Light from some of those stars left its home before there were seasons on Earth at all. By the time it reaches your eyes, you're not just looking at a distant sun, you're touching ancient time. So even in darkness, remember, the sky above you is alive, forever changing, forever reminding the world below how to glow. Though it looks eternal, unchanging, the moon too passes through quiet seasons, not of weather, but of light. As the Earth tilts and orbits the sun, our satellite follows, bathing in shifting sunlight. Its poles experience long months of brightness and shadow, its surface expanding and contracting with the rhythm of cosmic temperature swings. When sunlight strikes lunar dust, it releases trapped particles that form a faint exosphere, a breath of the moon, thin as memory, but real. Even its phases are a kind of seasonal dance, new to full, waxing to waning, a calendar older than language. Ancient farmers planted by its glow, fishermen read tides from its pull. The moon taught humanity to measure time, long before clocks ever existed. And when it rises swollen and amber on summer nights, or pale and crystalline in winter, it feels less like a rock in orbit and more like an old companion keeping watch over the sleeping Earth. In its cycles, we see our own growth, fullness, release, return. The same quiet promise, repeated endlessly above a world that forgets and remembers in equal measure. Fact 47, frost flowers bloom on ice like ghosts of spring, far out at sea. When polar air meets new ice, something extraordinary happens. Water vapor freezes upward into delicate filigree, thin, branching structures that look like petals. These are frost flowers, blossoms that bloom in silence. They form only under perfect conditions. Air colder than -20 degrees, a whisper of moisture, and the stillness of dawn. Each flower grows in seconds, feeding on vapor from the ice below, a bridge between ocean breath and Arctic air. Their beauty is fragile. Touch one, and it vanishes. But in their brief life, they host entire microcosms. Bacteria, salt crystals, and organic compounds collect among the icy petals, tiny laboratories of the frozen world. Seen from above, a field of frost flowers glows like stars scattered across the sea. They sparkle, shimmer, then fade, a frozen bloom cycle that lasts mere hours. It's hard not to see poetry there, even in the coldest places. the earth still finds ways to bloom. Fact 48. The shadows of winter are the longest stories the sun tells. In winter, light travels sideways. The sun hangs low, casting shadows that stretch for miles. Thin, slow-moving fingers tracing the world's quiet shape. These shadows teach geometry. They reveal the tilt of the planet, the curve of the land, the patience of time. Each morning, they crawl across snow and stone, reminding us that light itself has weight. When sunlight enters at this angle, it becomes softer, less golden, more silver. A cool illumination that feels like thought. Painters love this light. So the trees, their branches gleaming in low arcs, their bark glowing faintly as if remembering summer. Shadows in winter are long because the sun's path is short. It barely climbs the sky before descending again, and so its stories must be told slowly. By afternoon, light fades into indigo, and the world feels suspended between blue and white. A hush so complete it almost hums. Every shadow you see in winter is a sentence the sun wrote carefully in the calmest hand imaginably. Before the first buds appear, before the first bird returns, spring begins where no one can see it beneath your feet. In the soil, temperature rises first. Microbes awaken from their frozen sleep, earthworms begin to steer, roots start to stretch, feeling the faint promise of warmth above. This quiet awakening happens weeks before green appears. It's called the soil-thaw transition, the Earth's internal sunrise. As the frost line retreats downward, moisture begins to move again, minerals dissolve, and tiny filaments of fungi reconnect the forest, a web of life knitting itself back together molecule by molecule. Animals know it before we do. Foxes start hunting earlier, frogs begin to call from the thawing ponds, and the scent of damp earth rises, that ancient perfume of life returning. To walk in early spring is to walk above unseen motion. The world may look asleep, but beneath, the machinery of renewal is already humming. By the time the first flowers bloom, spring has already been here for weeks, working in silence, proving once again that the most important changes happen long before we notice them. When winter fades and another year begins, it can feel as though the world is starting anew. But really, it's continuing its soft, endless rotation. The seasons aren't separate chapters, they're breaths. Inhale warmth, light, expansion. Exhale stillness, rest, reflection. From the tilt of the planet to the pull of the moon, everything we call change is simply rhythm, the long arc of light and shadow, teaching the world to keep time without counting it. The same photons that warmed the first forests still travel through your skin when you stand in sunlight. The same snow melt that filled ancient rivers still moves beneath your feet today. We are not outside the cycle. We are part of it. Our hearts, our sleep, our seasons of joy and silence all echo the same turning. Every ending, every falling leaf, every fading storm is just the planet shifting gently in its dream. A dream of motion, balance, and endless return. And when you look up at the stars tonight, remember the earth is still turning, cradling you softly in its rhythm, rocking you toward rest. And now, as the seasons complete their circle, or perhaps their spiral, the world exhales again. We have drifted through storms and sunlight, through fog, frost, and flowering fields. We have followed rain as it whispered to the soil, and watched the air glow with snow and fireflies. All of it part of one long breath. The inhale of light, the exhale of time. The earth never stops moving. Even now, while you rest, it turns softly beneath you. Continents shift by inches. Oceans pulse in slow blue rhythm. And somewhere, The wind you felt this morning is already brushing another shore. Everywhere, something is beginning. Somewhere, something is fading. And in between the hush where meaning lives, you are part of that hush, part of the pattern that turns frost into dew, dew into rivers, rivers into clouds, and clouds back into rain again. The same cycle that carries seasons moves quietly through you, your heartbeat echoing the rhythm of tides, your breath tracing the same geometry as wind. The universe writes itself through repetition, but never in the same way twice. Each spring is a note in a longer song, each winter a pause that holds the next beginning. Even the silence between the stars is filled with vibration, the faint hum of creation's first echo, still shimmering through space. So when you close your eyes, you are not falling into darkness, you are returning to rhythm, the rhythm that has always known how to carry you. Think of all you've heard tonight, the science that feels like prayer, the facts that sound like dreams. Each one was a thread, and together they have woven a tapestry, the quiet logic of existence, stitched in light, air, water, and time. You have walked through forests of hours, touched by rain and memory. You have stood beneath auroras, listened to frost singing, watched leaves drift like echoes of warmth. And somewhere in all that, you began breathing slower, as if your body had remembered that it belongs to something vast and kind. Let the images fade now. The sound of rain on distant glass, the hum of wind tracing the curve of the world, the flicker of moonlight across still water. Each one drifts away, not lost, only softened. There is nothing to hold on to here. No past, no next. Only this quiet suspension between moments, the kind of peace that exists when time forgets to measure itself. Above you, the planet keeps turning, steady as a heartbeat. The constellations slip across the sky, like ships on an invisibly sea, and from where you rest, you can almost feel that motion. Slow, soundless, infinite. It is not something you must understand, only something you can join. Let your breath match it now. In and out. In and out. Each inhale a new beginning. Each exhale a gentle return. The seasons will keep unfolding. The oceans will keep breathing. The stars will keep shining their patient light. And somewhere within all that motion, you will rest. Not apart from it, but within it. Because the same forces that turn galaxies are turning you too. The same gravity that draws comets home draws your thoughts towards stillness. You are not small, you are precise, a knot in the oldest song, a particle in the vast, quiet order that keeps the universe awake. And as the stars continue their endless dance, you can let your thoughts drift with them, fading softly into the gentle dark of sleep. This is not an ending, it's a return, a slow surrender into balance, where waking and dreaming meet. Rest now, traveler of seasons. The planet is still turning, the tides are still breathing, and the dawn patient, inevitable, waits just beyond your dreams, ready to write the next chapter in light.